Good morning everyone, this is Arun and welcome back to the channel. I've been playing around with the Cloud Miner tool. If you don't know what Cloud Miner is, I'll leave a link to the previous video that I created. This was back in 2021. So today I wanted to show you the newest version of Cloud Miner and talk about some of the features and functionality and improvements in the tool itself. All right, let's get into it. I'll leave a link to the download page and you can download the tool and play around. I believe there's a trial period as well. I'll also leave a discount code in the description. So if you use that code, you get 5% off of the subscription fee. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the tool itself. All right, so the first time you log in, it's obviously after you install. First time you try to log in, it's going to ask you to connect to the instance. Now, the biggest enhancement that has happened compared to when I did the video back in 2021 is the fact that you can now use single sign-on. That's a great feature. So here you can give your username, password, and the connection details. And you can see, if you look at the connection, it's a drop down. It's gonna ask you for the connection. You select the connection, give the username, password, and connect. At the bottom of this pop-up page, you see the recent connections. So here you can see the most recent connections that I've used. You can click one of them and then log in using that username, password details. So let me close this out. Let me first show you how to manage the connection itself. So you go to Tools, click on Manage Connections. Here you can see the connection name, the URL to the instance. So let me go ahead and create a new connection and then we can go ahead from there. All right, so click on New Connection, give it a name. So I'm going to say ERP HCM, give the URL, and remove this, click OK. So here you can either give direct or single sign-on. I'm not sure what security server is. I've never used it, but direct and single sign-on is what I've used. Click on OK. Or you can click on Apply, and then you can see, you should now see two different connections here, ERP Cloud and ERP and HCM. And obviously, you can select this when you try to connect to the instance. You can also remove an existing connection. So that way, and you can manage the connections that way. So I'm going to click on OK, then it closes that out. Click on New Connection. Now you can see when I go here, it shows me those two connections here. So I'm going to select ERP HCM and I'm going to still give the same username and give the new password and click Connect. So it takes a few seconds to authenticate and connect to the instance. All right, here you go. And this should look pretty familiar for the folks who have used SQL Developer from Oracle, right? So the look and feel, the layout looks pretty similar. Now on the left side, you can see the connection. So you can see the connection that we used, ERP_HCM, and it also lists the username that we have used to connect. So worksheet 1, obviously we are in worksheet 1. That's why it's showing as worksheet 1. And you can rename the worksheet 1 to ERP financials. Let's call it ERP financials. Oh, probably have to enter. All right. So once you rename the worksheet, just press enter, and it should rename the worksheet name. All right. So let's go ahead and look at the other menu bar or toolbar items in there. So connections, you can go to create a new connection, disconnect, remove, all that kind of stuff. You also have the exit button, which will exit from the tool itself. Database, again, same thing, disconnect, reconnect. You can also create a new SQL worksheet. If you haven't saved SQL file, you can open that. You can also do find database objects, edit, the normal thing for editing, undo, redo, cut, copy, paste, comment, uncomment, intent, unintent, things like that. Search, obviously all of the search features are there. program. So this is where you can select a SQL statement and execute it. And I'll get into more details when we write the SQL and execute in the tool. You also have the option to format. Tools. Okay, so this is where I want to spend a little bit more time. So click on options. So you have a lot of options here in terms of user interface, the tab size that you want to use, the font that you want to use. You also have show line numbers. You also have highlight matching words, block selection, syntax highlighting, normal stuff that you see in an editor. So those are some of the options. You can check out the other two tabs, but this is the most useful one that I felt. And another thing is you do have the dark theme and the light theme, which is pretty awesome. If you change the theme, you obviously have to restart the tool for it to take effect. All right, so let's close this out. Then let's go to tools again, SQL formatter. So here you can set up, okay, what are the keyword identifier? So do you want uppercase, lowercase? How do you want to align the keyword? And line breaks, what do you want the breaks to be before the comma? For keywords, okay, where do you want to break it? Before, set operators, break after keywords. So select from, etc. You can break. So when you format the SQL, it will automatically break all these things. For conditions, so you have a lot of formatting options that you can set for the SQL code. Indentation and spacing, you can obviously do that. Insert, conditional insert before, break before when, break before then, break before else. So it's pretty customizable in terms of format SQL options. Okay, I'm just going to keep that. Go back to manage shortcuts, and this is where you can provide your shortcut. And for example, if you type in SCF, it's going to expand it to select count star from the table. And then if it is SF, obviously will expand it to select star from. So a normal feature that you would see in SQL Developer, in Toad. So it's there. You can also create your new shortcuts. Also, you can remove shortcuts. Okay. All right. Click apply and click OK. And we already talked about manage connections. This is where you can remove, set up new connections. And SQL history. So this just gives you the history of the SQL that was run. So, if I change the time period, you can see all of the SQLs that I've executed using the tool. It also gives me how many number of rows were displayed or retrieved. It also shows me the connection that I used, the SQL statement, the time it ran, and the status, success or error, which is pretty cool. All right, and obviously you have the help function. You can look at the revision history. You can check for updates. You can check at the user guide, things like that. Okay, cool. So now let's go ahead and execute a SQL query. Okay, let's go ahead and type in some SQL. So I'm going to say select star from AP invoices. And one of the things that you would see is now you have auto completion feature. I believe it's called IntelliSense, I guess. But the moment you type in an object name, it will show you a list of objects that are available in the instance. So in this case, I obviously wanted AP invoices all. I'm just going to double click. Now you can see the execute statement, cancel, and the row limit. So if I just change the row limit to 50, it's going to only retrieve those many records from the instance. All right, so you can see it highlights the keywords. And let's see if the formatting function works. Format SQL. Okay, so that works. So, the moment I selected the option to format SQL, it does format the SQL for me. Now, let's click execute. All right, so it gives me the list of records that was retrieved from the instance. You can also look at the single record. So here, if you click on the single record view, you can look at that specific record. If I click the table view, it takes me back to the tabular view. I can click on, let's say, invoice amount, this column. The moment I click on the column, it sorts it based on the value in that column. Okay, so if I click again, then it becomes descending. Now it becomes ascending, and you can see the icon here to let you know what kind of sorting it has done. So in this case, now it is ascending, and here now it is descending. You can obviously search for values. So in this case, let's search for JGA, and the moment I type that, it filters those records from the results, which is pretty good. So now if you can just search for specific values, and it shows you that. Okay, and once I remove, it goes away. Let's say I want to see, let's see, invoice type lookup code, right? Or let's description. Okay, so obviously when I retrieve the data, it's going to look like this. I don't know if there's a column, or I want to see the description column or the data in the description column. So what I can do is I can do description and then do this button here, and it's going to take me to maybe it's go button. So enter the column name and then click on the go, and it takes me directly to that specific column in the results, which is again pretty useful. I don't have to navigate and try to find the column. I can just type it in and click on go, and it takes me to that column, which is again pretty useful. Now I can obviously export this data, go to first record, go to last record. I can change the font size, so increase font, right? So it increases the font. I can decrease the font. I can obviously reset the font to the default value. If you want to hide null columns, you can do that. I don't know if there are any null columns, and unhide all columns. So that unhides all the columns. If you want to see the list of columns in the table itself, so this is a handy function. You can click on the column list, and it gives you all of the columns here. And you can obviously search for a specific column if you want to know what those columns are. And it also lists the number in the sense that this is how the columns are displayed in the same sequence in the results. And here you can again hide or unhide columns. So here, if I type in use space bar to hide or unhide columns. So if I just do space bar on invoice ID, now you can see in the results tab that is hidden. So I press the space bar again, it is showing me that column again. Again, useful if you wanted to hide specific columns. All right, so that is pretty much it in terms of the results. I can look at in the editor itself. You can now see it shows me the line numbers. I can have multiple SQL queries here. Select star from geo balances. So again, it shows me the object name, which is pretty cool, and I can then select the select statement on the query and then execute that, and it shows me that value. Now if I just click on select star from geo balance, that SQL statement, go to tools go to program, format SQL, it formats that for me. Now let's do one more thing. Let's add a few more conditions and see how it is formatting. So I'll just copy this and paste it here, and let's say where period. So again, pretty good. It lists the column name. Let's go with 0112. Okay, and let's try to format this again. All right, so it is able to reformat the data. So reformat the SQL query, which is awesome. So if you have a big query that you're writing, it helps you to easily format your SQL query. So let's run this. All right. So that's cool. It shows me all of that data. You can, like I mentioned, you can export this data into a CSV file or Excel file. So the moment you click on the moment you click on export, it gives me these options: spreadsheet, HTML, CSV, text, and delimited text. It's pretty self-explanatory. What else did I want to show you? The other thing is, you can look at the log. You can see the execution for that specific SQL query. It shows you how much time it takes. Now you could click on this connection and then click on new SQL worksheet, and it will give you a new worksheet. So I'm going to rename this to HCM, and they'll say, I hope I remember HCM tables. All people F. All right, I still do remember. So format SQL. Now let's try Control and T if that works. Yeah. So you don't have to go to program and format. You can just select the statement and then press Control plus T, and it formats the SQL query for you. All right, there you go. That worked. We looked at some of the shortcuts. So let's try SCF and Control Enter. So when I do Control Enter, it gives me select count star from. So this is the shortcut that we had, SCF for select count star from. And I'm just going to copy this and paste it here. Do Control T, gosh, and then SF was the other one. Again, Control Enter and copy and paste this, do Control T, and there you go. So this is how you can use the formatting functions and the shortcuts that you have defined in the tool. Honestly, I find this to be very useful to use. If you have watched my BI Publisher tutorials, you have already seen that I use this tool to connect to the instance to write the query. If you look at the BI Publisher data model, if you were to try and write the query in the data model, data set, it is, to my eyes, it looks very tiny. Yeah, you could zoom in and probably do it that way, but there's no formatting function, there's no syntax highlighting, there's no line numbers, there's no IntelliSense, there's no auto completion. None of that is there. And I have to switch between different tabs. So first I have to write the query, then I have to switch to the results tab to see the results. This allows me to write my query. The tool itself helps me to write the query, right? Because it has auto completion, syntax highlighting, all that stuff. My workflow becomes much more faster. So that's my opinion about the tool. I think for Oracle Cloud developers, especially who work on BI Publisher and people who work on trying to debug data or trying to analyze data, I think this is an awesome tool. I would highly recommend a tool like this for anyone who is working on Oracle ERP Cloud or HCM. It will definitely improve your workflow. Yeah, I think that's all I wanted to cover today. Honestly, I think it's a no-brainer. You should have a tool like this. I know there are other tools out there. I've used Cloud Miner and I like it. I don't have any issues so far. And yeah, I would recommend you to at least try it out to see if this is going to help you speed up your workflow. All right, that's it for today. I hope you like this video. I'll leave the discount code in the description. And to be honest, I'm not getting any commission on this. But if you use the discount code, you get 5% off on your subscription or the purchase of the tool. Hopefully that helps you to try it out. All right. I'm making more videos on BI Publisher and also a few more videos on Oracle EPM. So those will be coming out soon. If you have any questions, comments, let me know in the comment section. And yeah, make sure to follow me on Twitter and LinkedIn. I post a lot of content on LinkedIn. And if you want to support me, you can read my articles on Medium. And if you are not a member yet, if you join with my link, I get a kickback. Obviously, it's not going to affect you. You pay the same membership fee. But if you join with my link, it gives me a kickback. And that way I can keep making these videos for you guys. All right, I'll leave a link to my Medium articles and a link to join Medium in the description. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and I'll talk to you in the next one.